The Fontainebleau Las Vegas cost $3.7 billion. It's the most beautiful disaster you'll ever see. Empty hallways, silent tables, a ghost casino wearing a tuxedo. How does a resort this stunning fail this spectacularly? The answer isn't what the headlines told you. Let me take you back to where this story really begins. You probably thought the curse ended when the Fontainebleau finally opened. 20 years of delays, bankruptcy, fires, the 2008 financial crisis, the pandemic, Carl Icahn buying it, then abandoning it. But here's the truth. The curse didn't end. It evolved. December 13th, 2023. Opening day. The champagne flowed. Post Malone performed. The Strip's newest jewel finally sparkled. Except something was already broken. Within 30 days, 3 executives fled. The chief operating officer, the chief marketing officer, the vice president of casino operations. Gone. 1 month, 3 departures. That's not a coincidence, that's panic. And the casino floor? One local said it best. It felt like a mausoleum, beautiful, expensive, dead. The Fontainebleau's problems didn't start when it opened. They were baked into the foundation years before the first guest checked in. And if you've been to Vegas recently, you've probably driven past this tower and wondered why it feels so lifeless. Why the porte cochere sits empty while wind down the street has cars lined up. Why nobody you know has stayed there despite the massive marketing push. The story goes deeper than bad luck, deeper than location. This is a masterclass in how ego destroys billion-dollar dreams. But the real story starts with what happened on opening day. December 13th. Gamblers showed up excited because Fontainebleau was doing something smart. Tier matching. You had Caesar's diamond status? Boom. Gold tier at Fontainebleau? MGM Gold? Same deal. Free dining credits, spa credits, suite upgrades, no resort fees. High rollers loved it. Finally, a reason to try the new property. The casino loyalty world went electric. Forums lit up. People were calling friends, booking flights. This was the play. Get matched. Lock in that status. Enjoy the perks before Fontainebleau realized they were giving away too much. Then December 14th happened. 24 hours after opening, Fontainebleau pulled the tier match. No warning, no explanation. Just gone. Gamblers who'd driven to Vegas specifically for this felt betrayed. Some had literally checked out of other hotels and moved to Fontainebleau just for the status match. Others had canceled plans at Wynn or Aria. They'd reorganized entire Vegas trips around this opportunity. The casino loyalty community exploded. Reddit threads filled with angry posts. Twitter became a war zone. The damage was instant and irreversible. Fontainebleau scrambled. 2 months later, February 2024, they quietly brought tier matching back, but it was too late. Trust shattered. The high rollers Fontainebleau desperately needed remembered the bait and switch. And here's what makes it worse. These aren't casual tourists. These are people who track every promotion, who know every loophole, who spend hundreds of thousands at casinos annually. They have long memories and tight-knit communities. When you burn them, word spreads like wildfire. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression in Vegas. Fontainebleau burned theirs in a single day. The tier match debacle revealed something darker. Management had no idea what they were doing. They didn't understand Vegas customers, didn't understand loyalty programs, didn't understand that in this city, reputation is currency. And they'd just declared bankruptcy on day 2. And that wasn't even their biggest mistake. Here's something most people missed. When Fontainebleau opened, it had zero affiliation with major hotel chains. No Marriott, no Hilton, no Hyatt. Why does that matter? Because Marriott has over 100 million loyalty members. Hilton has 160 million. These aren't just numbers. These are business travelers with corporate accounts, convention attendees who book automatically through preferred chains, families who've spent decades earning points for that free vacation. When Resorts World opened, it partnered with Hilton. Instant database, instant bookings, instant credibility. Fontainebleau? Nothing. Actually, it's worse than nothing. Marriott was supposed to be part of this. Back in 2018, when the building was called the Drew Las Vegas, Marriott signed on. The JW Marriott Las Vegas Boulevard, first edition hotel in Vegas. It was going to be massive. Marriott's website had the property listed. Travel agents were taking reservations for 2023. Everything looked perfect. Then in 2021, Marriott walked away. Amicable settlement, they said. Translation: we don't believe in this project anymore. Think about what that means. Marriott walked away from a nearly completed property on the Vegas Strip. They abandoned what would have been their flagship Vegas resort. That's not just changing plans. That's seeing something so fundamentally broken that even with millions invested, they'd rather cut their losses. Jeffrey Soffer, the owner, decided Fontainebleau would operate independently, the same way Fontainebleau Miami operates. Miami sophistication. That'll work in Vegas, right? Wrong. Vegas runs on scale, on volume, on filling 3,644 rooms every single night. Fontainebleau Miami is boutique, exclusive. They can charge premium rates because they're one of one. In Vegas, you're competing with dozens of world-class properties. You need every advantage. Resorts World has Hilton's booking engine, corporate travel departments, convention groups who earn points. Fontainebleau had none of that. They opened without a customer database and without a hotel partner. That's not bold. That's suicidal. One hospitality analyst said it perfectly. Fontainebleau thought if you build it, they will come. But Vegas isn't Miami, and faith isn't a business model. When you open a Vegas resort, you're competing for conventions, business travelers, loyalty members, tourists who book through aggregators. Without a major chain backing you, you're invisible to half your potential customers. It's like opening a restaurant with no sign and wondering why nobody walks in. Then there's the gaming floor itself. Walk into any successful Vegas casino and you'll see video poker everywhere. Bars lined with machines, players nursing drinks, small bets adding up. Fontainebleau has one video poker bar. One, tucked in the sports book. Industry expert John Mehaffey from Vegas Advantage visited opening week and wrote this. I think Fontainebleau will regret having only one video poker bar. Most Las Vegas Strip casinos have several. He was right. Video poker players are bread and butter customers. They play for hours. They buy drinks. They book rooms. They're not whales betting $50,000 a hand. They're grinding out small edges on 99% payback machines. But they're consistent, reliable, profitable over time. Cutting them out to maximize slot revenue is short-sighted. Slot machines have better margins, sure, but video poker creates atmosphere. It fills seats. It makes the casino feel alive. An empty casino is a dead casino, and dead casinos don't attract new customers. Then there's the poker room, or rather, the lack of one. Fontainebleau deliberately excluded a poker room. Management's reasoning? They wanted only offerings that generate revenue. Let's unpack how stupid that logic is. Poker rooms do generate revenue. Maybe not directly from rake, but poker players are ecosystem drivers. They book hotel rooms for tournament series. They bring friends who play slots and table games. They eat at your restaurants. They drink at your bars. They tip your staff. They create energy and excitement that attracts other customers. Aria has a poker room. Bellagio has a poker room. Wynn has a poker room. Even Resorts World, which opened just 2 years before Fontainebleau, included a poker room. Because operators understand that poker isn't just about the rake. It's about building community, creating destination appeal. But Fontainebleau? We're too sophisticated for poker. A local gambler visited opening week and said, "It doesn't have a poker room. I wish they had a poker room." The alienation didn't stop there. Walk the gaming floor and you'll see blue carpeting everywhere. In a casino design seminar, a speaker once said blue is an awful color for casinos. Why? Because casino psychology relies on warm colors, reds, golds, rich browns, colors that subconsciously encourage excitement and spending. Warm tones make people feel energized, comfortable, ready to gamble. Blue is calming, reflective. It's what you use in spas and meditation rooms, not gaming floors. The blue carpet at Fontainebleau is striking, beautiful even, but it's the opposite of what you want in a gaming environment. It makes the space feel cold, distant, clinical. You walk through and your brain says, "This is nice," but your gut says, "I want to leave." But Fontainebleau went with blue to match the Miami property. Style over substance, aesthetics over psychology. Another unforced error. Every decision on that gaming floor screams, "We don't understand our customers," and the customers responded by staying away. But wait, it gets worse. Every single day, Fontainebleau pays $8,000, not for electricity, not for staffing, for the right to use the name Fontainebleau. $8,000 per day, $2.9 million per year, just for intellectual property royalties. That's the deal Jeffrey Soffer made when he brought the Fontainebleau brand to Vegas. The Miami property is iconic. The Vegas version needed that cachet, but cachet costs money. When you're printing cash, $8,000 a day is nothing. It's a rounding error. But Fontainebleau wasn't printing cash. In the first quarter of 2024, they lost $400,000 per day. Let me put that in perspective. Before the first guest walks through the door, before the first slot machine spins, before the first card is dealt, Fontainebleau is already $8,000 in the red. Every single morning, that IP fee becomes a psychological anchor. Every morning, management wakes up $8,000 in the hole before a single card is dealt. And for what? Most Vegas tourists don't know Fontainebleau, Miami. They know the Bellagio. They know Caesars. They know the Wynn name carries weight. But Fontainebleau? Unless you're from Miami or you're a hotel design enthusiast, the name means nothing. The brand doesn't carry the same recognition as Bellagio or Caesars or Wynn. You're paying millions annually for brand prestige that your customers don't recognize. It's like buying a Ferrari, but only driving it in your garage. Sure, it's impressive to the few people who see it, but you're paying supercar money for a decoration. That $8,000 could have gone to better comps, lower table minimums, free parking for locals, better pay for dealers to reduce turnover. Instead, it vanishes into Jeffrey Soffer's pocket for the privilege of using a name that doesn't move the needle in Vegas. Now let me tell you about the identity crisis at the heart of all this. One journalist visited shortly after opening and wrote something devastating. It's the Las Vegas experience for people who despise Las Vegas. Read that again. Fontainebleau deliberately positioned itself as sophisticated, refined, not the gaudy, neon-soaked, cheap buffet Vegas of old. They wanted European elegance, Miami chic, understated luxury. Except people come to Vegas for Vegas, the spectacle, the excess, the unapologetic ridiculousness. They want the Bellagio, fountains. They want Penn and Teller. They want to see the Luxor light beam from space. They want cheap prime rib at 4 a.m. They want dealers with personality and cocktail waitresses who remember their drink order. Fontainebleau missed that completely. The hallways smelled like fresh paint in old bookstores. Quiet, almost clinical. Where's the energy? Where's the buzz? Where's the feeling that anything could happen at any moment? The property is stunning. World-class restaurants by celebrity chefs, impeccable rooms with mountain views, a 46-foot sculpture by Urs Fischer in the lobby that probably cost more than most people's houses. The spa is gorgeous. The pools are pristine, but it feels like a museum. And museums don't make money in Vegas. Wynn is luxurious, but it's still Vegas. The dealers chat, the slots chime. There's energy and movement and life. Cosmopolitan is upscale, but it's playful. The Chandelier Bar, the secret pizza place, the rooftop pool parties. Even Resorts World, another recent opening, embraced Vegas kitsch with Genting's gaming culture and brought the energy of international casino resorts. Fontainebleau tried to rise above Vegas, to be too cool for the city it's in, to attract people who think they're too sophisticated for Vegas. And Vegas punished them for it. Because here's the truth. People who hate Vegas don't go to Vegas. And people who love Vegas don't want a property that's embarrassed to be there. You can't succeed by rejecting your customers, by telling them their Vegas is tacky and yours is refined. The city has a culture, an identity. You can elevate it like Wynn did, but you can't replace it. You can't pretend you're in Miami or Monaco, because you're not. You're in Vegas, and Vegas demands respect. And then there's where they built it. The Fontainebleau sits at the north end of the Strip, right across from Circus Circus. Let that sink in. You're a $3.7 billion luxury resort. Your neighbor is Circus Circus, the budget property with the faded clown sign and $35 rooms. It's almost an hour walk to the Bellagio fountains, a mile and a half to the heart of the Strip. Sure, you can take a taxi or rent a car, but Vegas is about spontaneity, about walking between casinos, about stumbling into something unexpected. That's how Vegas works. You're at the Cosmopolitan, you walk to Aria, then Bellagio, then Caesars. You're bouncing, exploring, discovering. Every casino is trying to pull you in. Every property is competing for your attention. That ecosystem drives spending. People walk past a steakhouse and think, why not? They see a blackjack table and sit down on impulse. Fontainebleau kills that vibe. You're isolated, trapped. One journalist wrote, "If you want a casino hop, you'll need to take a taxi. If you're hoofing it, it's a nearly 1-hour walk to the middle of the Strip." Think about that from a customer perspective. You're staying at Fontainebleau. Your friends are at the Bellagio. You want to meet them for dinner. You need to order a ride. Wait, pay, sit in traffic. It's a production. At Aria, you'd walk through the lobby and be there in 8 minutes. The isolation works against every Vegas instinct. People don't want to be locked into one property. They want options. Freedom. The ability to leave if the vibe isn't right. Wynn and Encore are nearby. They're established. They have databases built over decades. Loyal customers who return yearly. Fontainebleau is the new kid trying to poach from properties that already own the neighborhood. And here's the cruel irony. The location could have worked. Wynn proved luxury sells on the North Strip. But Wynn opened with Steve Wynn's reputation, a full database, and a brand that meant something. Fontainebleau had none of that. The location was always a gamble. But without foot traffic and without a loyalty base, it became a death sentence. You can't put a resort at the end of the Strip and expect people to trek there without a compelling reason. Fontainebleau offered beauty, but beauty doesn't overcome isolation. Not in a city with 20 other beautiful properties in more convenient locations. But nothing compares to how they handled opening day. Opening day should be perfect. You get one shot. Fontainebleau blew it. Mother Wolf and Vita. 2 marquee restaurants were listed as open on the website. They were not. Shuttered. Signs on the doors. Guests who'd made reservations weeks in advance showed up to locked entrances and confused staff. Only 21 of 36 promised restaurants were ready. Let me repeat that. 21 of 36. Not a few stragglers. More than 40% of your dining program wasn't operational. You're a luxury resort. Food is half the experience. And you opened with less than 60% of your restaurants? Signage was incomplete. Guests got lost trying to find the casino, the spa, their rooms. The whole property felt half-finished, like walking through a construction site with furniture. Guests got lost trying to order ride shares. One journalist's Lyft driver circled the building 4 times trying to find the pickup area. Employees admitted it was a persistent problem, not a day-one glitch. A design flaw nobody fixed before opening. Cartier was supposed to open. Big sign said, "Coming summer 2025." Over a year after opening, and they're still waiting. What does that say to guests? That you announced tenants before signing contracts? That you promised amenities you couldn't deliver? This is what happens when ego overrides operations. Fontainebleau wanted a splashy opening. They wanted headlines. They got them. But the property wasn't ready. And the executive chaos? Colleen Birch, the COO, quit after a month. Shane Smith, the CMO, quit after a month. Michael Clifford, VP of Casino Operations, was fired after 2 weeks. Later, the chief financial officer left, the chief technology officer left, the director of beverage development left, the director of front services was let go. That's not normal turnover. That's an exodus. That's people running from a sinking ship. When senior executives quit within weeks, it signals dysfunction at the top. These are people who left high-paying jobs at established properties to join Fontainebleau. They burned bridges, relocated families, then immediately bailed. What did they see? What made them quit so fast? Management chaos, unrealistic expectations, owners who wouldn't listen to casino professionals, egos clashing at every level, a property hemorrhaging money with no plan to stop it. Let's talk numbers for a minute. First quarter 2024. Fontainebleau made $192 million in revenue. Sounds good, right? Wrong. Subtract operating costs, debt service, that $8,000 daily IP fee, insurance, payroll for thousands of employees, marketing, utilities for Nevada's tallest occupied building. Suddenly, they're losing $400,000 per day. To break even, analysts said Fontainebleau needed $4 million per day in revenue. They weren't even close. They were making roughly $2.1 million per day, less than half of break even. Occupancy rate? 49%, half empty, every night. At a property designed for luxury travelers willing to pay premium prices. That's catastrophic. You don't build a 3,644-room property to run at 50% occupancy. You need 75, 80% just to survive. Hotels make money by filling rooms. Empty rooms are pure loss. Every night a room sits vacant is revenue that vanishes forever. And it's not like they could discount their way to full. Luxury positioning means premium prices. Drop your rates too low and you destroy your brand. But keep them high and watch the rooms sit empty. One local visited and said, "There's no nicer way to say it, but it's not fun. It's hard to walk the strip from here. As a Vegas local, I never have a reason to go there outside of an expensive dinner every so often. When locals avoid your casino, you're in trouble. Locals are the backbone of Vegas gaming. They come weekly. They know which properties treat them right. They tell their out-of-town friends where to stay. You lose locals, you lose your foundation. The math simply doesn't work. You can't lose $400,000 per day indefinitely. Eventually, lenders get nervous. Partners start asking questions. The Koch brothers start demanding answers. So what did they do when all this started crashing down? June 2024. Jeffrey Soffer made a desperate move. He bought a 5-acre parcel across the street for $112.5 million, the former Riviera site. Why? Because Fontainebleau needs something, anything, to drive foot traffic. Maybe villas for high rollers, maybe retail to attract locals, maybe more. Amenities to justify the isolation. But throwing money at a struggling property doesn't fix broken fundamentals. It's good money after bad. One Vegas insider wrote, "Las Vegas isn't Miami. Build it and they will come isn't tethered to reality. Oh, and no foot traffic." The land purchase was admission of failure. Admission that the current property couldn't stand alone, that they'd miscalculated so badly they needed to literally expand across the street. Fontainebleau has zero casino database and zero hotel partnerships. The owners have no experience in the casino resort business. The losses keep mounting. Finger pointing, chaos, more executive departures. In May 2025, they laid off over 60 table game dealers. That's not restructuring. That's bleeding out. That's cutting muscle, not fat. Dealers generate revenue. Every table that closes is revenue lost. But when you're desperate, you cut what you can. The trajectory is clear. First quarter 2024, 400,000 per day in losses. Second quarter, more losses. By the time we hit 2025, they're laying off dealers. That's the death spiral. Cut staff, service declines, fewer customers. Cut more staff. One industry insider predicted the timeline perfectly. 2024, staff reductions. 2025, executive team replacement. 2026, asset write-downs. 2027 or 2028, sale. That's not pessimism, that's pattern recognition. We've seen this movie before in Vegas. Revel in Atlantic City. The Fontainebleau's first bankruptcy. The Drew project stalling. History repeats when fundamentals are ignored. Here's why you should care about all this. The Fontainebleau represents everything wrong with modern Vegas. Corporations building monuments to their egos, assuming customers will show up because the building is pretty, ignoring the fundamentals that made Vegas work for 70 years. Old Vegas understood something simple. Give people a reason to come back. Cheap tables, friendly dealers, a little bit of luck, and a lot of fun. Comps for regulars, handshakes from pit bosses who knew your name. Fontainebleau tried to be too smart, too sophisticated, too anti-Vegas, and the city is rejecting it. One Reddit user summed it up perfectly. Charging for parking at a resort that's struggling to attract customers doesn't exactly seem like a smart idea. Another said, "I hope the Koch brothers suffer massive losses." That's the sentiment. Resentment, not sympathy. Because Fontainebleau isn't just a business failure, it's a symbol of Vegas forgetting who it's supposed to serve, of billion-dollar resorts that feel like insurance company towers, of style swallowing substance, of operators who think they're smarter than the market. The old guard knew better. When Steve Wynn built the Mirage, he studied customers. When Sheldon Adelson built the Venetian, he understood conventions. When MGM built City Center, they partnered with Infinity to capture hotel loyalty. Every successful Vegas property respects the market. Fontainebleau thought they could rewrite the rules, thought Miami principles would translate, thought beauty trumped strategy. They were wrong. Maybe Fontainebleau survives. Maybe they right the ship. Stranger things have happened in Vegas. Maybe new management comes in with fresh ideas. Maybe they slash prices and chase volume over margin. Maybe they find a hotel partner willing to take a chance. But right now, it's the most beautiful disaster on the Strip. A $3.7 billion lesson in how not to build a casino. And every casino operator in the world is watching, taking notes, learning what not to do. So what's the takeaway? Las Vegas built its reputation on knowing its audience. The Fontainebleau forgot that. They wanted Miami, they wanted Europe. They wanted anything except Vegas. And Vegas responded by staying away. If you remember when Vegas had soul, when it was about the experience, not the quarterly earnings. Tell me your story in the comments. And if you want more truth about how Vegas really changed, hit subscribe. Because this story isn't over. And neither is Vegas's slow transformation into something unrecognizable.